I want to place on record that this place is not very conducive. Air conditioners are not working. We did into training bodies, Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine, NAFDAC, Nutrition International, the Nutrition Core Working Committee, led by the Special Assistant to the Governor on Public Health, who is also the focal person of the NCWC, Mrs. Uju Awuka Rochas Okorocha, my younger sister. The World Bank representative, UNICEF excitement and urgency that I welcome you all on behalf of my colleagues, members of the House Committee on Nutrition and Food Security, to this first inaugural meeting which we are having with you, who are considered the critical ministries, departments and agencies and other stakeholders. My excitement stems from the fact that this is the first time in the history of the legislature in Nigeria that the leadership of the House of Representatives has thought it necessary and of course very expedient to set up a distinct and exclusive committee for greater legislative attention to critical interventions in the cross-cutting issues of food and nutrition. The creation of this committee, considered as quite apt, will serve as a swift response to the present economic realities, especially the current unaffordability of basic foods in Nigeria, arising from uncontrolled inflation and scarce means. The emergence of this committee very late last year is entirely a credit to the foresight and pragmatism of one of the most responsible and responsive leaders ever in the history of our dear nation, the Right Honorable Tajudeen Abbas, PhD, CFR, Speaker of the House of Representatives of the 10th National Assembly, who foresaw this food and nutrition crisis today and responded with the creation of this committee. The leadership and entire members of this committee share a high sense of urgency as we hold this inaugural meeting with you, who are the stakeholders, for several reasons. One, the National Bureau of Statistics reported a current food inflation rate of 33.9% recently. And this is mainly caused by one, insecurity, two, volatility in the exchange rate of the naira, three, high cost of transportation of products, and then climate change. Similarly, updated figures of the World Food Programme and Global Hunger Map currently estimate that about 112.3 million people in Nigeria have insufficient food to consume. This is more worrisome in the context of reports that most farmers in neighboring border states now prefer to sell their produce to markets outside the country to earn more than they would have earned selling them within Nigeria on account of currency fluctuation. In the light of the above, this committee deems it wise to propose the declaration of state of emergency in nutrition and food security in Nigeria to address the issue with the required sense of urgency and multi-stakeholder strategic participatory approach. The mandate of our committee can be summarized thus: to urgently address the growing food crisis and malnutrition, which have become a serious threat to security and national development, by examining existing extant laws, evaluating their effectiveness, strengthening grey areas, and adopting an impactful synergy among the relevant MDAs, which will translate to drastic improvement in food security and nutrition. We will seek to support and enable all relevant stakeholders to work with greater sense of urgency, clarity, and result orientation in the context of contemporary challenges and exigencies of our time through legislative focused policy and governance. The committee will also seek to galvanize national efforts, both federal and states, towards coordinating urgent actions to address this crisis. We also will consolidate on ongoing efforts to set up a national legislative forum on nutrition and food security, where we at the National Assembly will be interfacing with the leadership and relevant committees in the 36 states of House of Assembly to foster synergy in the efforts to tackle this urgent issue of national importance. Because the issue of food scarcity and nutrition efficiency is not only in Abuja. We appreciate the strategic role our partners will play in collaborating with and supporting the committee. This includes, but not limited to, the World Bank, the USAID, UNICEF, Nutrition International, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and the Foundation, and the Kela International, among others. We appreciate the opportunity offered by GAIN recently for capacity building during a bicameral legislative retreat that held in Lagos, and we attended. We look forward to more support from other partners in this regard and other activities the committee will come up with. Let me use the opportunity to acknowledge the good work currently being done by the Nutrition Corps Working Committee, the NCWC, under the chairmanship of distinguished Senator Ibrahim Hassan Adejia, the Deputy Chief of Staff to the President, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, and the Special Assistant to the President on Public Health, who is also the focal person on nutrition, and the coordinator, NCWC, Mrs. Uju Vastasia Amukani Vecha, my younger sister. It is our intention to vigorously pursue the creation of distinct budget line for nutrition in relevant ministries, departments, and agencies of government at the federal level, as well as pursue SEM in the 36 states of the Federation, working with our counterparts in the various state houses of assembly. This we hope to conclude in time for incorporation into the next budget, the 2025 budget, and I'm happy that the minister himself is here. Furthermore, in line with the presidential directive for ministries, departments, and agencies to set up a department for nutrition within the organization, I urge the following MDS to do so immediately to align with the renewed global agenda of Mr. President. Ministries of Budget and Economic Planning, Women Affairs, Education, Water Resources and Sanitation, Science and Technology, Industry, Trade and Investment, Information and Culture, Humanitarian Affairs, and Poverty and Education, and the National Primary Health Care Development Agency. We are working on a robust strategic plan to achieve quick wins, and we will involve strategic stakeholders that are here and more that are not here, including maximizing opportunities provided by ICT to improve the nutrition and food value chain in due course. Following from the above, and in our desperate efforts to achieve quick wins, just yesterday, 28th February, this House of Representatives graciously considered my motion, the motion I took to the floor. We will achieve the above and more, all aimed at reversing this worrisome trend in the shortest possible time. Thank you all for coming. God bless you.
The work of this committee. But because I may not have the opportunity to make this single point again, let me say all we do here, if we don't get down to the state level, to the local governments, we'll just be recycling the same thing we've been doing before, which is like motion in a barber's chair. A lot of movement, but no progress. And what the challenges are, and what the future looks like. Then we begin to address the issue. But let me go ahead and read the address of Mr. Speaker. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the inauguration of this very important House Committee on Food Security and Nutrition. The committee is very crucial to the vision of the House to be responsive, results-oriented, and effective in performing its constitutional mandate towards the security and welfare of Nigerians. Nigeria, like the rest of the world, is experiencing a food crisis exacerbated by climate change, rising inflation, and pervasive insecurity. Hence, the decision of the House to set up a committee that would be dedicated to fashioning legislative measures and actions to tackle the menace of food insecurity and malnutrition affecting our people. According to the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, about 26.5 million Nigerians will be grappling with high levels of food insecurity in 2024, while the country is said to have the second highest burden of malnutrition in the world, with 32% of children under the age of 5 counted or chronically malnourished. Malnutrition currently impacts 35 million children under the age of 5, among whom are 12 million that are stunted and 23.5 million suffer from anemia. An additional 17.7 million individuals are facing hunger, with 2.6 million children confronting severe acute malnutrition in 2024. Among women of childbearing age, 7% experience severe acute malnutrition. These figures may exacerbate due to the current food inflation rate, which stands at about 33.7% according to the Central Bank of Nigeria. Furthermore, the World Food Programme's September 2023 publication of the Nigerian Hunger Map estimates that 24.9 million Nigerians are in an acute or critical stage of hunger, categorized as an emergency, while 85.8 million Nigerians have insufficient food consumption. Among this population, 47.7 million Nigerians resort to crisis level or above crisis level food-based coping strategies. The above data paints a very gloomy picture requiring urgent legislative action. This is particularly so given that some of the causative factors are issues within the legislative competence of the House to deal with. The food and nutrition crisis affecting us as a nation is partly caused by global warming and climate change, pervasive insecurity across the country, which prevents farmers and herders from engaging in their various agricultural activities, poor irrigation, outdated land tenure system, crude and traditional farm practices on subsistence levels, as well as a myriad of other challenges. It is in the light of the foregoing that this committee finds relevance and becomes very significant. As a committee, you are expected to provide a legislative response to the worsening food insecurity and malnutrition situation in the country. Stakeholders and experts in this area to provide the needed support and partner with the committee to meet the objective for which it was established. Let me also re-emphasize the position of the House to improve food and nutrition for our people. In our resolve as a House to tame hunger and malnutrition, pursue food security and sustainable development, we prioritize agricultural development as a key legislative agenda based on our strong belief that the agricultural sector is a critical factor in growing the nation's economy and scaling down poverty rates. Besides, we are committed to enacting policies and legislative frameworks towards supporting farmers with subsidies, access to credit, and modern agricultural equipment to stimulate enhanced agricultural productivity. This will also have a far-reaching impact in addressing the multifaceted challenges of food insecurity and malnutrition. I am honored, therefore, to formally inaugurate this committee as part of our legislative response to food insecurity and malnutrition in Nigeria. Thank you, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The Right Honorable Speaker. of the House of Reps with this wonderful initiative where legislating has responded to an emerging and notable challenge, twin challenge of nutrition and food security, and thank the wisdom of the House for setting up a committee to focus on this issue, as well as congratulating the members, the chairman, the deputy chairman, and indeed members who have been called upon by the House of Reps to play this noble assignment. The twin challenges of nutrition and food security are those that have drawn the attention of many stakeholders before now, but where legislation have responded to activism by stakeholders and activities commendable, and especially the recognition that both nutrition and food security have hitherto been associated with one sector or the other rather than appreciating the cross-cutting nature of both challenges. Nigeria has done very well, been supported by different stakeholders, the government, particularly the government of President Bola have appreciated the nutrition and food security challenges. We have a National Food Security Council chaired by no less a person than the Vice President of the Federal Republic, Senator Kashim Shettima. We are participants in the UN's United Nations Food System Transformation, as well as the institutional alignment which saw the Ministry of Agriculture being recognized as both the Ministry of Agriculture and that of food security. This is commendable. One will recall that in the last administration under former President Muhammad Buhari, a National Food Security Council was created, chaired by the President himself, and I was privileged to be the Vice Chair of that National Food Security. And what led to it is the recognition that food security is not an agricultural issue, it's not a health issue, it's not an environment issue, it's not physical security issue, it's all of it. And you need to have stakeholders around the table so that we can appreciate, we can do better. And the same thing with nutrition. So not surprisingly and consistent with Chapter 2 of our Constitution, fundamental objectives and directive principles of state, which call upon and make it a duty, even though most people kept saying it's not justiciable. However, the National Planning Commission Act have created that have bestowed upon the National Planning Function the mandate to ensure that the fundamental objectives and directive principle of state, which includes ensuring welfare for all, is provided. So what the House of Reps, I believe, is doing is really helping to provide care of children irrespective of whether they are in formal education or they are under faith-based organizations. Just recognize that and especially in a country where our scriptures even invite us to fast and preachers upon both Christians, Muslims and Hindus, they tell us that fasting is an invitation to reflect on the food security, that there is somebody out there who is not so blessed, who you have to think about. So no matter your comfort zone, you have to experience the pangs of hunger so that you reflect on others, both spiritually and socially. So, and also the chairman and deputy chairman and all members of the committee as well as stakeholders. Thank you very much.
The prosperity of our nation. Your remedial measures to address food shortages ahead of the rainy farming season demonstrates a clear understanding and the urgency and complexity of the challenges before us. The dangers of malnutrition and its impact on human capital development and the economy cannot be overemphasized. By bringing together diverse stakeholders, policymakers, and experts, you have set the stage for collaborative action, innovative solution, and meaningful change. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we gather here today to address the multifaceted issue of food security and the looming nutritional dangers facing our nation, let us remember, again I say please, let us remember that we are all threads in this intricate tapestry of transformation. Each of us play a unique role, from policymakers to farmers, from civil society to private sector partners, to move the policy into actions. The renewed Hope administration, under the visionary leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is determined to tackle this food shortage and nutritional challenges that we face today. This challenge not only can be changed, but will be changed for the interest and progress of our country. In the same light, the Vice President, as Chairman of the National Council on Nutrition, is not leaving any stone unturned in the quest for a food-secure and nourished nation, as he has engaged many stakeholders in the partnership by creating the Nutrition Co-Working Committee chaired by His Excellency the Deputy Chief of Staff. The team has already begun working on a comprehensive roadmap that includes 5 high-level pillars of decentralized coordination, data and accountability, financing, profile raising, and key nutrition interventions, recognizing the roles of state governors, local government chairmen, faith leaders, and traditional rulers, as well as the media. There is no better time for the executive, the legislature, and judiciary to work closely together to provide nutritious food on the table of the common man. As a government and as a people, it is not time for accusations, it is not time to cast blames, it is definitely not time for politics. It is the time to exchange ideas, it is the time for commitment, it is the time to take responsibility, it is the time for patriotism. Let us now, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, more than ever, work together to turn the tide against hunger and malnutrition. Let us sow the seeds of change and reap a harvest of well-being, prosperity and resilience for all Nigerians. Thank you.